Hello everyone. Let me take you into the more slowly, not just a list but a journey of human life, almost like sitting in the quiet room, listening to a lecture that is not just about wealth but about becoming. When we reflect on the ideas inspired by Niccolò Machiavelli, we must understand something first. He has not merely talking about money, he was observing human nature, how people rise, how they fall, and what truly gives a person control over their life. So today, imagine we are not studying wealth, we are studying the evolution of human being. The first level, when life is about surviving. At the very beginning, life is simple but also very heavy. A person wakes up thinking, will I have enough? Will I be safe? Will I make it through today? At this level, there is no space for philosophy, no space for dreams. When hunger speaks, wisdom becomes silence. Machiavelli understood this deeply. A person who is struggling to survive cannot be asked to be noble, patient, or visionary. Survival compresses the mind into the present moment, and here is the life lesson. Never judge a person who is still fighting for survival, because survival is not a choice, it's a condition. But if you are in this level, the path forward is not complicated, though it's not easy. You must build stability, a steady income, a predictable routine, a small sense of control. This is where dignity quietly begins. The second level, when you begin to breathe, now something changes. You are no longer drowning, but you are still in the water. There is food on the table, bills are paid, there is even little saved, but inside there still be subtle fear. What if I lose this? This is the level where many people stop growing, not because they are incapable, but because they are comfortable enough. And comfort can be a gentle trap. Machiavelli would say, you are safe but not secure. Your life still depends on something outside of you, a job, a system, another person's decision. The lesson here is quiet but powerful. Do not confuse comfort with strength. To rise, you must begin to think differently, learn beyond what is required, prepare beyond what is necessary, build beyond what is visible. This is where discipline is born, not from pain but from awareness. The third level, when you taste freedom, now you can arrive a place many people dream of. You are no longer controlled by immediate needs. You can choose when to work, how to live, and say yes or no. This is a financial independence, and yet something surprisingly often happens here. Some people feel lost because for the first time they must answer a deeper question. If I'm free, what should I do with my life? Freedom without direction can feel empty. Machiavelli understood that freedom alone does not create greatness, it only removes obstacles. The lesson here, freedom is not the destination, it is the responsibility. To rise further, you must shift from earning to building, living to creating, consuming to contributing. This is where purpose begins to whisper. The fourth level, when you begin to influence. Now we enter the world that Machiavelli truly study the word of power. At this level, wealth is no longer measured by what you have, but from what you can move, your influence, people, decisions, outcomes. You begin understanding something most people never see clearly. Human beings do not operate only on logic. They move through emotion, perception, and fear. This is why Machiavelli spoke about being fear or love. He was not teaching cruelty, he was revealing reality. Because influence requires understanding human nature not as we wish it to be, but as it is. But here lies the danger. Many people rise to this level and lose themselves. They chase control and doing so become controlled by ego. The lesson here is sharp. If you do not master power, power is quietly master you. To move forward, you must develop self-awareness, emotional restraint, integrity under pressure. Because of this level, one wrong decision can undo years of success. The fifth level, when you begin to think beyond yourself, at some point a deeper question arises. What will remain when I'm gone? Now wealth becomes something different. It is no longer about how much do I have. It becomes what am I leaving behind? This is legacy. You begin to build things that outlive you. A family with strong values, a business that continues, a body of work that teaches. Machiavelli respected those who created systems that endure beyond their lifetime, because temporary success is common, but lasting impact is rare. The lesson here feels almost gentle. True wealth is not what you own, but what continues without you. To rise, you must think in generations, not years. You must plant trees you may never sit under. The sixth level, when you master yourself. And finally, we arrive at the level that very few people truly reach. Not because it is impossible, but because it requires letting go of everything we thought was success. At this level, you are not controlled by money, you are not driven by fear, you are not intoxicated by power. You see clearly, you understand people, but you are not disturbed by them. You experience life, but you are not attached to outcomes. Machiavelli described the balance between fortune, what happens to us, and virtue, our inner strength. This is where virtue becomes complete. The lesson here is quiet, almost like whisper. The highest form of wealth is inner peace with full awareness. Because persons who master themselves cannot be easily shaken by the world. Closing reflection, the real journey. If you step back and look at these 6 levels, you will notice something important. Each level is not just about gaining something, it is about letting go of something. At level 1, you let go of chaos. At level 2, you let go of dependency. At level 3, you let go of limitation. At level 4, you let go of naivety. At level 5, you let go of selfishness. At level 6, you let go of ego. And this is a deeper truth, one that Machiavelli observed. But life itself confirms you do not rise in wealth by adding more. You rise by transforming who you are. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know what level you are, and comment in the comment section. Thank you.